a couple is having a little bit of a disagreement. And the disagreement is about a kiddush. Because he really loves to have kiddush at home. And he loves to bring all his friends over. And he wants to make it into a big event every single week. And she detests kiddushim. She can't stand them. She doesn't want anyone in her home. She wants to have a restful one day of the week where I can just chill. I don't want to entertain anybody and not prepare the food and not do anything. Sounds like a, cookie cutter case. These guys are married for, 7 years, 8 years. And it reached a point that they want to break it. So this was just the maki b'patish. This is not obviously the only problem, but this is the bottom line. That what happened now, the last straw was this one. So I said to you, really, are you adamant about it? That's what it is, kiddush or marriage? If it's a kiddush, there's no marriage. If it's marriage, no kiddush. Which one? She says, my husband's not willing to discuss. No conversation. He's not willing to talk to me at all. No conversation. I'm only talking to her. And she says, you know what? No, the truth, I don't mind having the kiddush. I'm okay. I'll survive the kiddush. I need one thing. I need one thing from him. And that is, if I agree to make the kiddush, and I'm putting myself out on the line to make this kiddush, I need one thing from you, and that is, he has to say thank you. Is that fair? Let's go to appreciate it. She says, he makes the kiddush every week, and after he makes the kiddush, he just leaves. And now, not only was there a kiddush, which I disapprove of, but I'm stuck having to clean up after the kiddush. And so he doesn't want to say thank you. He's not interested. Get a cleaning lady. You don't need to clean it up. It's fine. What do I need to get involved? And that's the conversation. And I'm against divorce. But this is where it's holding. And this is where it's at, for real. And the question is, what can we do to help and to save the marriage? And I think it requires us to go deep into core values of marriage. Like, what is it about? So I had a chat with her. And I asked her a question, like, why'd you marry this guy? Like, the type of guy who wants to make a kiddush every single week and invite all his friends, you most likely knew that in his personality before you got married. And you most likely wanted that and were attracted to that. So take a look how people are. When we get married, we're attracted to something. We look for it, it's exciting, and we're into that. And we want to live with that person. And then we get to live with that person, and we're like, I don't like that person. I can't deal with them. And I can't handle it. And then we retreat, and we don't want it anymore. And the question is how to rebuild. The answer, by the way, is very simple. The answer is very pashut. The answer, I had a discussion with her and said, you go to analyze and scrutinize what do you want out of the marriage and what does your husband want out of the marriage. What is, in the average marriage, what do you think a guy wants out of marriage? What's the one thing? If you put one nakuda, what does a guy get married for?
Respect.
Really good.
Loyalty. Food.
Food is good. What does loyalty mean?
You're always on his side. In business, in friends, in politics, in shul. This guy doesn't like me, you're right. This guy, whatever.
Right. So that's called, interesting you called loyalty, but I think it's more into respect. That's what it is. Does a woman want respect in a marriage?
Yes, appreciation. I don't think that's emotion.
That's not the main thing.
So what does she want more?
She wants emotional connection.
Right. Emotional connection and appreciation. That's what she wants. So if everyone learns how to give it and get it, then we have a great marriage. So the question is, how do you respect someone who doesn't say thank you to you? If I want appreciation and you're not giving me appreciation, how am I supposed to respect you? So what needs to happen in this is it needs to go deep into another sphere in order to download some powers to be able to endure this and to handle this. It's ditto for any relationship, not just marriage. It applies to business partnerships and parental relationships and you know, parent to child, child to parent, all of those. It's all about our ability to draw from the inner core of what we truly feel, ignore what's happening on the outside, and be able to break through. In other words, if she can find a way to respect him even now, and build and develop that respect even now, and he feels, and it's very difficult to respect someone who says he wants the D word, divorce, and now you're going to respect him still. But if you can find a way to respect him, then you'll get your appreciation also. And that's the question, how do we do it? So there's a story in our parsha, and it's a story about a marriage that takes place. But the marriage takes place between Yaakov, and at those times they were able to do it. He has two wives, two main wives. That's Yaakov gets married to Leah and Rachel. And what we want to do is take the story from the domain of its plain basic story and live on a deeper level of the story. Experience it in a deeper level. So the story basics are, Yaakov went out to find a wife. He finds Rachel, he meets her, he loves her, he kisses her right away, before marriage. Ouch. That's a different discussion. And then afterwards, that was before Matan Torah, so no questions. So he then says, I'll work for you for 7 years. He works for Lavan for 7 years to be able to marry Rachel. Lavan cheats him, gives him Leah, and then a week later, he married Rachel. And then he worked another 7 years to pay for Rachel again, because the first time was really for Leah. And then during that time, Leah has a whole lot of kids, even though Leah is the hated wife. It says Kisenua Leah. That's pretty intense, because he didn't want to marry her in the first place. So he doesn't like Leah, doesn't appreciate Leah, and he marries Leah. So Leah has all the kids, and Rachel, whom he loved, has no kids. After Leah has 4 kids, then she stops, no more children, and now Rachel has the kids. When Rachel has the kids, after that, Rachel has, first of all, she gives her maid, and then Bilhah, and then she has kids, and Zilpah, Leah's maid, has kids. Then Leah has 2 more kids, and then finally Rachel's able to have her kids. And this story is the story of it epitomizes and expresses what happens in any relationship. So what we want to do is take it away from the domain of the story of Yaakov and Rachel and Leah into the story of our lives. And in your own psyche, you have a Yaakov, you have a Rachel, and you have a Leah. And then they have kids, and they get married, and then there's the fight, and then there's the struggle, and then there's the excitement of the marriage, and up and down. So let's first look at it in terms of our relationship with Hashem. Because core relationship is the relationship each one of us has with Hashem. From that, we can extrapolate to our own relationships. So we take a look at that story. Here's how it goes. Leah and Rachel each represent something else, a different modality. Okay? Put on your thinking caps. We're going to go deep now. Deep dive. Ready? Leah is called, she's a wife, but she's always crying. And she doesn't have outward love. Rachel is Yefas Toya Vifas Mare. That's because Leah thought she was going to marry Esav, so she was crying the whole time, and Rachel knew she was going to marry Yaakov, so it was great. So Rachel was beautiful. When you looked at her, you saw Yefas Toya Vifas Mare. She was stunning, she was magnificent, she was beautiful. Leah was not. And then when they get married, Yaakov doesn't like Leah. Kisnua Leah. I mean, can you imagine being married to someone that the circumstances of marriage were that he worked for someone else, and then you were cheated, it doesn't do well for the marriage. So Leah represents the world of thought, and Rachel represents the world of speech. Leah is the world of concealment, and Yaakov is the world of revelation. There are two modalities in our life. There's what goes on inside and what goes on the outside, what's expressed. There's the world of your psyche, which is who you are inside, what you're feeling and what you're thinking and what's going on inside you. And then there's how you express yourself and communicate. Leah is in your thought, what happens inside. Rachel is in your speech, what happens on the outside, how you portray yourself and project yourself. Yaakov does not appreciate Leah. He appreciates Rachel, because what he wants is the revelation on the outside. He wants to see how does it express itself. It's about what does it actually translate into. And Leah means feelings on the inside. Now I ask you, what's more important? Feelings on the inside? Is it how you feel or how you express yourself? Which one's more important? How you express yourself. So that means if you have a marriage and you don't really love each other, as long as you treat each other nicely, that's good. I don't care what the energy is. As long as you have an outward, like you're socially present, it's fine. No, you need also an energy, right? But what happens if you have an energy and you only love each other, you deeply love and respect each other, but you can't express it? That couple I was telling you about before, by the way, both of them have a deep love and respect for each other. They're actually in love. The problem is they don't know how to talk to each other. So they don't know how to communicate. So because they have the Leah, they have intact. The Rachel is not. But if you keep on having a Rachel, eroded at and chiseled at, and if someone puts you down all the time, again and again and again and again, and doesn't give you the appreciation you want or the respect you want, depending who you are, if you chisel enough at the Rachel, you'll destroy the Leah too. And the marriage is destroyed. So which is more important? Outward expression or what goes on inside?
I think it's both.
That's why Yaakov married both. He marries Leah and he marries Rachel. Now let's go back to our relationship with Hashem. In our relationship with Hashem, there's what goes on inside. When you daven and you connect and you feel an energy and you feel Hashem in your life, it's the feeling. Then there's the expression of what you do on the outside. For example, we Jews have had different times in history. When we had a Beis HaMikdash, that means Hashem was present and revealed in our lives. You felt the Urim V'Tumim, Ruach HaKodesh, the Shekhinah, the revelation of Hashem in our lives. And nowadays, what do we have? Nada. No revelation. You don't see God. You don't get to appreciate Him. Nothing. Everything's happening on the inside. So, the Rachel is when you're expressed and you see Hashem in a very palpable, tangible, real way. Who does Yaakov want to marry? Yaakov wants Rachel. Because what does Hashem want from us? He wants us to live in a space where there's a Beis HaMikdash and things are great and things are awesome. It's wonderful. And that's where He wants us to be. But what do we want? When the Jews were in the desert, there was a big argument took place. Because Moshe Rabbeinu tells them, let's go into Eretz Yisrael. And what do they say? He says, let's send out spies and go check out the land so we can go conquer the land and go into Eretz Yisrael. What do they say? No, we don't want to go in. So the spies come back and they successfully convince the entire Jewish people not to go into Eretz Yisrael. How on earth do you convince everyone who just saw so many miracles going out of Mitzrayim that we're not going into the land of Israel? The answer is, which side would you be on? Would you be on those side who want to go into Israel or want to stay in the desert? Think about it. If you had the option, going into Israel or staying in the desert, what would you prefer?
We can't apply our sensibilities to that.
Let's try and understand what goes on. In the desert, what do you have? In the desert, you have what? Mon. You have the food taken care of. Cloud above you, right? Your clothing gets ironed for you, grows with you, all good. Never go to the bathroom if you eat mon, unless you eat other food. And what else do you have? Water? The Be'er of Miriam. What are you doing all day? Learning Torah. Who's teaching you? Moshe Rabbeinu. Hey guys, would you like to leave and go into the land of Israel? And there you have to work hard and you have to fend for yourself. And there's going to be enemies out there and giants and whatnot. And would you like to deal with that? Or would you want to stay in the midbar? Is it any wonder that the entire Jewish people were convinced? They say, we don't want to go. Not because we don't like you, Moshe, because we love you. We really love you. We want to stay here. We want to stay in the realm of experiences. We don't want to go in. That's what they said. Much better. What does Moshe tell them? Sorry. You want what you want, or you want what Hashem wants? I get what you want, but what does Hashem want? Hashem wants you to enter into the land, to toil, to work, and to reveal Hashem. So the Jews go about face after 40 years and they enter into the land. When they enter into the land, they successfully built first a Mishkan and then a Beis HaMikdash. They got to a point where this relationship with Hashem was on a peak, it was on a high. It was so good because Hashem was revealed in the Urim and Tumim and the Shechina and the Aron HaKodesh, and all the wonderful things took place, and you saw Hashem in the Beis HaMikdash. And then what happened? The relationship went sour. We got a divorce. Didn't work. Tried once, we tried to get back together. After the first divorce, whatever, another Beis HaMikdash, and then poof, we're out. We lost it. Why do we lose it? Why does any marriage lose it? Why is it that, take a look at how relationships work, right? First you have, in the world, they go for boyfriend and girlfriend. They don't want to get married. Think about it. Why get married? It makes no sense to get married. It's more fun to be a boyfriend and girlfriend. Boyfriends and girlfriends talk nicely to each other. You know why? Because if they don't, you drop it. It's much easier to drop it. So when you have a fight, okay, I'm out. I'm not staying here. And it's much more fun. You know, in the shidduch system, we don't do boyfriend girlfriend, but we do dating. To date and have that, it's so cool. Obviously, when it's working. The chassid kala stage, that's really when it is. So you've decided already, and you're in. And now it's like there's just a connection. That's the Leah stage. That's like a Dera Midbar. And then comes the, okay, I'm excited to get married. Because what does Yaakov ultimately want? He wants Rachel. Get married and have an outward, revealed relationship. So they get married. And that's when things go south. Because marriage is such fun initially, until you realize, oh no, I'm stuck with you. And we each have our quirks, and it's a little bit difficult. And so we fall apart. And that's when the divorce takes place. Hopefully not a divorce. Hopefully it's just a struggle. Marriages go through a struggle. Now what happens? In our relation with Hashem, what happened was we lost it. Rachel disappears. We now only have Leah. In that time of Leah, most Jews don't have a connection to Hashem. So most Jews actually lose it. There's some very special and unique Jews, the likes of the Arizal. The Arizal was, interestingly enough, actually greater than many prophets that you ever knew. The Arizal produced Torah. Arizal lived 500 years ago. And he produced Torah in an unprecedented way. That's during Golus, that's during the exile. Why is that? Because when you don't have the outward revelation revealed, you actually have something inside going on. If you care to go into the depth of what's happening right now, you'll discover a deeper relationship with Hashem, and that's the key. When a relationship goes south, so here's what happens in the cycle of a relationship, right? First you start off and you're excited about each other. It's wonderful, yeah. And you don't want to get married. You want to just live in this excited stage. But then Hashem wants you to get married, you have to get married. Okay, so you're excited, let's get married. We just moved from Leah to Rachel. Watch how we're jumping up and down. We get married, we have the Rachel stage. Now what happens? It's exciting for a little while, and then you lose the excitement, and now you're just stuck with another human being, a roommate that you can't ignore. So you have these, couples go through fascinating stages. You have like this no talking stage. You have a fight, and then you literally ignore each other for a week. And there's no talking, and I'm not talking to you, and you're not talking to me, and then whatever. And then at some point, like, something has to happen to break all this tension that goes on in the house. And then we break it. Okay, now we're going to rebuild it. And it's a challenge. And then comes the next stage, which is the realization that when you are in this space of that things are going wrong and things appear to be negative, what you actually have is a layer stage. If you go deep into this moment, you'll discover fascinating and satisfying relationships can really be built. So you want to go deep dive into your layer and bring out the Rachel. And that's the key here. Who has the children in the family? Which wife of Yaakov had the children? Leah. Why not Rachel? Rachel was the one he loved. Rachel is the one who's about outward love, and Leah is the one who actually has the experiences. Leah is the one who has the children. Leah means, what's more important in your marriage? The energy on the inside or the expression on the outside? Which is the key? The energy on the inside is where all the feelings, the beautiful, wonderful heart feelings come from. Leah has first 4 children. She gives them names. All in all, how many kids does she have? 6. Why 6? What does 6 represent? The 6 emotions. That's what she has. Leah's on the inside. She has 6 emotions. But if you go through the first 4, you'll see the key emotions of what's necessary in order to build a relationship. Leah's first son, his name is Reuben. What does Reuben mean? I see. Reuben, it's seeing. It's the ability to gaze at someone and to see the beauty inside them. Shimon is when I don't look at you and I actually just hear you. One is love, the other one is fear. Or in a relationship, that's Reuben and Shimon. If you have those and you do it successfully, you arrive at Levi. What's Levi? What does she say? Hapa'am yilaveh ishi elai. Note how all these are experiences that are going on in her life. She's got a stormy relationship with her husband. And she's saying, I love you. I don't know how to live without you, but I can't. That's Reuben and Shimon. And then there's like Levi, I want to be with you. And once I get to that space of I want to be with you, then I get to Yehuda, which is letting go. After Leah is able to do these 4, she has no more children, and now enters Rachel into the picture. When, in your own life, you'll see you do this in the marriage, and you do this inside you, and you want to just learn how to bring it out. Essentially, what it means is that when things are bad in a marriage, in a relationship, what you want to do is go into the core and discover the energy that's inside the Leah and all her feelings and express it and bring it out. So let me make this practical. This lady, I have a conversation with her, and we're talking about what could you do. So we formulated together a text. After the big fight, the blow up, all marriages have those blow ups, right? When everything goes crazy, and sometimes just over a kiddush. And we formulated a text. I didn't write the text because it's not me that's meant to write it. And she wrote it. But I asked her, what do you want to really say? And so what do you think she wants to say? She wants to say, I'm so hurt. I'm so upset. I'm struggling. Why can't you just say thank you? That's what she wants to say. What's going to happen if she says that? Do you think he's going to respond to that? He'll get defensive, right? Or he'll feel she's crying and whatever, and so, okay, fine, whatever. So she sent him a different kind of text. The text was, I asked her, what do you feel about him? Do you care about him? Do you respect him? Is there anything good about him? And she moved into a space of really feeling a genuine respect for him. Like a real space of what's unique about him. Like, wow. She wrote him a text about how she apologizes that he felt disrespected because the Kiddush is so important to him, and how to be with his friends, and that's important to him, and she apologized. She thought he would write back a text saying, thank you. He didn't. He wrote back a text saying, you know, I really love you and I really care for you. And I don't think you deserve a guy like me. I think you deserve a much better guy. And it's good for you to find someone else, basically. And because I love you and I care for you, that's why I think you should marry someone else. What would you respond to that? What do you think she wanted to respond? What? So what do you think she no empathy at all, right? So she was like, what? And she wants to have a fight. So I asked her, do you want to end this? Do you want to help ending the marriage? I can't help with that, but if you want. Okay, so end it. It's very simple. Tell him, you low life, you piece of whatever, this and this. Or you want to try again. Do you want to make it work? If you want to make it work, you have to go deep down into your own layer. You have to go deep into your own self and say, what do I really feel about this marriage and about this person? You see how the rochel, the outward expression, which we so crave, we want someone who will just express themselves nicely and beautifully and just be nice. Why do you have to be so nasty? And yet, I don't know how to align the feeling inside with the feeling outside. And someone needs to go into that dark space and be able to build that connection. Leah inside with Rachel outside. How do you really feel about it? So she's like, I want this marriage to work and I wish it would just be normal. And yeah. So I said, okay, let's try again. So she wrote him back a text and she told him how she very much respects the fact that he really cares for her. Thank you for caring for me. Thank you for writing such beautiful words about how much you love me. It's called Palgin and Dibura. You know what that is? Palgin and Dibura means I only heard half of what you said. You cut the words in half and then you have what you want. So she's like, wow, so you basically told me you care for me and you love me and wow, and give him respect for that. Now, and she said, and I apologize again that you felt disrespected, and you know, very special and very nice and very, write that out, because if the guy's going to get the respect, he's going to find it very, very hard with that glue to walk away from the marriage. What happens is we allow the marriage to erode because of the negativity. You know, there's another couple I had that they had an argument. And I'm changing details, by the way, in case you think that I'm revealing all the secrets. But there's other couple, whatever. So they're married. They have like a lot of kids, and they're having a difficult time. So they're in. She wants space. She wants space, and she wants her own thing. She goes into a room in the house and she does exercises, and she puts on the exercise clothing. And when she does that, and she has the baby in the room, so she's not dressed tznius. He walks into the room, and she asks him to please leave because I'm doing my exercise, and I don't want you know, we're in the middle of a fight. We're not talking to each other, so I don't want you to see me right now. And no, thank you. So he says, you know, okay, I'm taking the baby. For whatever reason, she doesn't want the baby taken. No, the baby's staying right here. And you leave. So he doesn't like that. So, and a scuffle develops. So she takes his phone and she says, if you don't leave, I'm breaking your phone right now. Don't mess with the guy's phone. You know, it's like the worst thing you could do. So he says, fine. He leaves. And as he's outside the door, she passes the phone under the door, but the door wasn't closed fully. So he's back in after he got his phone. He's back in and he picks up the baby and he's walking out. So when he does, she went a little bit violent at him, and it was a physical fight. it ended up with the police coming, and with a night in a detention center, and you know, police, what's it called, judgments against the, you know, not to be able to see the kids, etc. That's where it's holding. That's where I got to. And when you enter to these kind of positions, it's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. So we should just let's just do the easy way out. Okay, get divorced. The problem I have with it is, you know, one guy once told me, he said, there was a kid who grew up in a divorced home, and he said, I believe that the best thing for parents to do if they want to get divorced, he said, is they should shoot the kids first. Why would you want them all to suffer? If you want to go into a deep relationship in these kind of situations, the key, and it's such hard work, it's like so difficult, because on the outside, everything has gone wrong. On the outside, there is no hope and nothing. And basically you call the lawyers in, and you get your wallets out, start paying hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I always tell people, most likely you'll win at the end of it. You'll fight for 12 years, and then you'll win. Except when you win, what's going to happen? The kid's already grown up and says, I don't care about what the judge ruled. I'm doing what I want. And so there goes all that. In order for a marriage to work, we have to realize there's a Leah and a Rachel in the marriage. Rachel is how you express yourself outwardly. Rachel never has kids. There's no way to get married and Rachel should have kids. She doesn't have kids. That means you can't produce results. The one who has the kids is the Leah. So you get the absurd. The absurd is, Yaakov wants to marry Rachel. You dream of having this great relationship with someone who cares about me. And it'll be so beautiful. That's what we dream of. And then, but we don't want that, so we're too scared, so we stay in the Leah stage. We stay in the stage of connection between boyfriend, girlfriend, shidduch. We like that stage. And then we get married, and what we discover is that at the beginning it's great. The beginning it's always great. You know why they say by Neshama Brachas, you say, because you want that the voice of the chassan, the voice of the kala, it's so sweet. The voice of a chassan and kala is just so delicious always. It's so special. They love each other so much. One day, when you're married for 20 years, we should be able to hear that same voice. Right? Because the voice disappears after a while. When the voice disappears, what happens in a marriage is, after you get married to the Rachel, Leah has the kids. The feelings are inside. There are always feelings inside. This lady told me, she says, my husband is a manipulator. My husband, all the time, he tries to manipulate me. Now, when you say manipulate, obviously, you know, okay, I guess that's ground for a divorce. I'm like, so why'd you marry him? You didn't know he was a manipulator? No, I didn't know he was a manipulator. I submit that you did. You just had another name for it. When you don't like someone, you call it a manipulator. But when you like them, when you're in the initial stage of marriage, you call it take care of me, a guy who knows how to take charge, a leader, and a guy who knows how to lead the way. Beautiful. Right? And then you don't like it anymore. And so, now he's manipulating me. It's just the way of how you label it. You see what it is? There's the feelings that go on inside you, that's the layer. The internal expression of them, the layers where the feelings are. What you want to do is discover when a marriage goes south and there's no kids. In other words, Rachel doesn't have kids. No kids physically. When Rachel doesn't have kids, when the relationship outwardly is not able to express itself, you can't communicate, it's actually an opportunity for a deeper relationship more than ever. If you go into the layer, you'll discover great, glorious things. Every marriage must go through it. Every relationship must go through it. There's the immature side of being married. It's so cute. It's so fun. And then when it goes south, it's calling for a deeper relationship. Because after Leah has all her kids and all the feelings, then Rachel starts to daven to Hashem And then Rachel finally is able to have her kids. And what does that mean? It means you want to go back to the core values. So why are we married to each other again? Go back and look, what do I like about this guy? And you'll discover when you strip all the external layers, right? There's a deep-seated connection. And what you want to do is be able to access that love on the outside. Every guy wants to be respected. Every girl wants to be cherished. The problem is how they say that to each other. How does a lady tell her husband she wants to be cherished? You know what she says?
Buy me jewelry.
What?
Buy me jewelry.
You wish it would happen like that. She says, you never buy me jewelry. You never say thank you. You understand? We make a kiddush and you don't say thank you. Sure, that's a great way to get the guy to tell you thank you. There is no chance in the world that the guy is going to really say thank you. He'll say, okay, thank you. How does a woman, how could she get a guy to thank her for the kiddush? What could she do? She says, I don't know. What the guy doesn't understand, he's going to appreciate me and just tell me thank you. Do you see what the problem with that energy is? No offense to women, but that's how all women talk. They get mad at their husbands for not giving them what they want, thinking that the more mad they'll get, the more they'll get what they want. Opposite is true. The more upset you get, the less you get. You want to get it? Go into the core of who you are. It's like, tell your husband what you like. It's an amazing, amazing revelation. If a woman tells her husband what she likes, you know what happens to him? Like, I want to give her that. But the way to do that, so it's like, what do you mean? So I tell him, you never take me out. And you don't take me out, and we don't go, and we don't do this, and you don't, and you make kiddush, and then you don't even understand me, and you don't care, and you don't whatever. And then she gives them a lecture. You know the lecture stage? The lecture is where you come into the room, okay, listen, this can't continue, and we can't go into the almost as if to say that you'll score anything by doing that. The way to score in a marriage is by looking at the Rachel, and going into the Leah, and going into the depth of who you are. And you'll see inside there are deep feelings, deep feelings inside you. They're buried so deep. If you can access those feelings inside, and you bring them out into the open. And what does that mean? It's very simple. What do you want? You want him to take you out. Okay, why do you want to be taken out? Why do you want him to say thank you for the kiddush? What will that make you feel? Answer is? Appreciated. Okay, so the way to get appreciation is by drawing into your inner reservoir of appreciation. Not the lack of appreciation. Because if you say, I never get appreciated, you'll never get appreciated. Because if tracht gut wird sein gut, then tracht the opposite wird sein the opposite. And you're wondering why he never responds. Because you're telling him not to respond. You're telling him, you never say thank you. So what does he get? It's not what you say, it's the energy behind it. It's not the Rachel, it's the Leah that counts. So what's the Leah? The Leah is, okay, what do you really feel about him? If the real feeling is, I want to get divorced, I want to get out of this, then I can't help. But what you'll discover more often than not is that deep inside, you just want to be cherished, and you just want to be cared for, and you just want to be loved. So why not go into that space and show him that without a fight? So you go into the space and say, do you ever feel cherished? I asked this lady, I said, is everything really bad? Do you ever feel cherished? She had to look deep down. She really had to think about it. And then she said, yeah, I do sometimes. The other day, he bought me something, you know. She said the other day he basically bought me a bottle of water. And I felt like $1 million. Because he actually cared enough to give me the bottle of water. Well, that's so nice. That's so special. Go into that space of what it felt like to get a bottle of water. Just a bottle of water. That's what he gave me. The whole time he doesn't care about me, doesn't understand me, but he gave me a bottle of water. Go into that bottle of water, into that little thing that you cherish, and tell him how special it was. When you gave me that bottle of water, I just felt, close your eyes and go into the energy of what you felt in that bottle of water. Because that energy is what you want to communicate on the outside. Stop talking in what you want and start talking in what you feel. And that means go into what you want to get out of this and say, I want to be cherished. So what do? The message you tell him is, when you cherished me the other day, I felt so cherished. And don't tell him anything else. Don't tell him what to do. If you tell a guy what to do, he's definitely going to do the opposite. But if you tell him what you like and you go into the deeper inner feelings, you're going to discover beauty and glory, and then you're able to bring it out. It's counterintuitive. Because Rachel can't have kids on the outside. Leah has the kids. And when you go into Leah and bring out the Leah, and through Leah, that's how the Rachel comes out. So in a good, solid, healthy marriage, it's the most amazing thing. When the wife gives the husband a little bit of respect and shows him, you're my man, you're the guy, I trust you. I trust you fully. Why? Because deep down you do trust him. So you go into that deep space of trusting, and she says, everything on the outside is against this. I should say something I don't believe in. What's the answer? Yeah. Yes, you should. Do you know why? You know, when Aaron and Cohen used to go from one side to the other, Aaron used to lie. That's what he did. How do you make Sholom Bayis? Right? Sholom Bayis is like a negotiation. You go to one side and you say, he really loves you, and he really cares for you. And then you go to the other side and you say, you know, I heard your wife is telling me, and she mamish loves you, she cares for you, and whatever, and you lie.
But really it's not.
Aaron wasn't lying. Really, it's not a lie. Why? Because what happens is on the outside, we fight. Inside, we're in love. Deep inside. Every single marriage, if you walked into that marriage, that's because deep down you care for each other and you love each other and it exists. Oh yes, there's exceptions to every rule, but let's talk about the rule. Because, you know, but too many divorces nowadays. The rule is there's a love for each other. What's the problem? That the outside and the inside don't align. Here's the story. Inside, Aaron wasn't lying. When Aaron told the guy that your wife really loves you, she does. What's the problem? She doesn't know how to express that to you. She doesn't know how to say it to you. So if you just learn that art of how to say it, oh, that's all I need. So Aaron wasn't lying. He was just revealing a deeper truth. That deeper truth is aligning the Leah and the Rachel together with each other. And so this couple was actually quite glorious what happened. But after, so she sent him a text of that, no, I don't want to work on it. She didn't tell him I want to work on it. She just, no, you can leave. You want to go, you can go. That's not, I'm not telling you what to do. Just so you know, I'm not leaving, exactly. I respect you. She gave him all the respect that he wanted. The guy heard it and was like, he gave a thank you. Okay. And then she came back afterwards and she told him how much she, on a different day, by the way, different day, different experience. She told him that, you know, I had it the other day. The other day I was like, it was a few weeks ago. We had there was no one was in the house to clean, and it was right after some weddings, and so there was lots going on, and I was in the house and I was there by myself, and I saw the house was a bit of a mess, so I decided to, I don't usually go to it, but I took the mop, and I found that cleaning stuff that you take, you know, you put it in. I wasn't sure exactly how to do it, but I mopped the floor. And And that was it. It took me about 10 minutes. I mopped the floor, just whatever, gaman. When my wife came in later, she walks into the house and she said one thing. She said, that smell, she says, wow, it feels like, was it cleaner than here today? She says, it's that smell of floor cleaner is the sweetest smell ever. When I sense that smell, it makes me go on high. And then she ran out, she left.
I know you do it every week.
And I heard that, and I was like, and she didn't know, right? That I didn't. No, I did it. I didn't say anything. But what was interesting was I found it myself. By the time she came back a little bit later, the entire house was spotless. Yes, I was on the phone while I was doing it. That's true. So I was able to do that. But the entire house was spotless. And I was telling this over to this other person in the Sholom Bayis session. I said, you know what? I was wondering, like, I detest cleaning houses. Sorry, it's not my thing. I can't do it. But no, I wasn't cleaning the house. That wasn't the point. The first time I was cleaning, that was just to clean. I was like, okay, let me help a little bit. Afterwards, when she told me what she likes, and when she was saying about that this is something special to her, that was to me an opportunity. Play it a little bit differently. Let's say she would have come out and she would have said, this house is so dirty all the time. Why can't you're walking around the house, why can't you just help a little bit and clean? That's the same thing that says I want to get the house clean. Rest assured that I would have not done it. And then she would have come back, and I'm just, imagining. She would come back and say, I understand you were in the house the whole day, and you couldn't like clean it or whatever. You know what that would be? That would be grounds for a blow up and a no talking for a week. Chas v'shalom, not by me, of course. But right, that's what will happen. That because you come in and you go deep into your feelings and deep into your own space, and you say, okay, what do I like? Just walk in, you can do it naturally. It's so powerful. Lose all the drama. Forget the drama. Come in, the lady gives the guy respect. Yeah. And then tells him what she likes. And tells him what the feeling inside. And what happens is, there's a layer inside of us. And the layer is the internal energy. That's where the marriage happens. The trouble is, we like to keep it in that internal stage. And we don't know how to reveal it outwardly. You like the guy? Tell him that. In other words, don't scream at him why he doesn't clean a house. You like clean houses? Say that. I love when houses are clean. That guy, after he got that, she used the same thing. And she told him how much she appreciates. Just time with a random day, she said, just randomly, she wrote a comment. I love when everyone helps to clean. It just makes me feel so loved and cared for and cherished. The next week, he helped clean after the Kiddush. Because it was said to him in a way, it was like, I'm being a hero by doing this. The biggest problem we have with marriages and relationships is that the external and the internal are not aligned. And the Rachel and the Leah. And what we want to do is realize that what you get married for is the Rachel, the external relationship, and what you want is that the internal and the external should meet and be aligned with each other. That means, what do you truly feel? If you hate him, you don't hate him. Because you wouldn't have married him if you hated him. It's true, the hatred could be very, very, very big. And you have to go very deep to uncover that part of the depth of what you are. But when you communicate from the space of what you really want and what you really feel, you'll discover that the guy wants to be the hero of his wife, and the wife wants to be cherished by him, and suddenly all things work, and suddenly everything falls into place. Because such is the way of marriages. The way is that we want to live beautiful, but we don't know how to do it. So when we do it, we just forget about it, and just, it's so painful to see couples who love each other and can't express it. And that's the Vart. The Vart is to be able to align the Rachel with Leah. Because Rachel can't have kids. Once he marries Leah, then Rachel's able to have the kids. And then she discovers that the Leah and the Rachel syndrome together, the internal feelings and emotions that you have, combined with what happens on the outside, that is the key. It's communicate from deep inside your soul. it's so much more fun.